yeah, have not been very consistent on the live streams on YouTube, but I'm gonna try to fix that. Have at least few lives in a week. And yeah, regarding UFC 330, I woke up a little bit late, so I watched pretty much Mackenzie, like two main events, co-main and the main event, and I can share my take on that. If there was anything interesting in the card and the prelims, you can always share with me, and I'll try to like rewatch it later. But yeah, there's definitely uh, even after the fight, both on co-main and the main event, a lot of speculation, a lot of what ifs, like it happens very commonly. So I will address that as well and share my opinion. But gotta wait for more people joining, so feel free to write down in the like just engage in the chat, ask questions, and yeah, I'll try to respond it. When I'm having gaps between, like when I don't do lives for a while, like it usually drops, the view amounts drops, and takes time to get back to regular amounts where people engage more actively, but we'll see. All messages here. Okay. Hello, Joshua. And that's the first person in the chat. Okay, very cool. Well, you can feel free to share your take. What was your impression of the specifically Makhachev versus Garry fight? Like I have few things to say, definitely, and also about the future of the division, both for Makhachev, for Garry, and yeah, that's quite interesting. So first of all, gotta say that, let me think, what was the most prominent? Well, I think despite Garry not doing his best, and I don't know, like that's another topic, we can talk about it, that guy's mentality is a little bit odd to me. But for the Islam, even quite passive Garry, we could see the damage, right? We could see and that was a headbutt. There was a lot of, like, it was not as many strikes, because then at some point I was surprised, oh, where did he get that from? Yeah, there were maybe a couple head kicks that went through, but you also saw what Makhachev did. They actually did a good knockdown. In my perspective, the Islam was better at striking. They were both like counter strikers, so in that context, Islam was slightly better, obviously on the ground also better, but you could see the damage, right? So that says about the welterweight division. Yes, Islam had a fight with Jack Della Maddalena, but they are pretty much the same size. So, and stylistically, it was quite more comfortable. I said before that Islam Makhachev also outstriked Jack Della Maddalena as well, so as quite a great counter puncher, and obviously out wrestled him. And but then we have Garry, who is bigger, who didn't use, in my opinion, most of his potential he could do, which is obviously on him. But you still saw the damage, and you saw that it was harder for Islam to keep Garry down. Yes, that's due to some preparation and those kind of things, but still, here we kind of, I want to point out one of the big factors that a lot of people I noticed that neglect is the size, the weight, the reach, and just physicality. Islam is arguably better than a lot of fighters, both in striking, or at least counter striking, and of course in the wrestling. But is it going to be enough in the welterweight division when we have... Okay, against Prades, I see him winning, but Michael Morales, that boy is like, I think he's a problem for the division. So I don't know, man. Like, let's just talk about it. Like, Islam Makhachev is definitely a small welterweight, and you could see that even against the young Garry fight. Love your necklace. Thank you. That's the Norwegian themed necklace. Just woke up. Good for you. How much do I weight? I weight 116 or 15 pounds or 53 kgs at the moment. No Torah lessons. I'm not Jew. I'm coming from the Christian country, from Georgia, by the way. Oh, that explains it. Hello. I'm not a Russian spy. I'm from Georgia. Though I speak Russian, I speak English and learning some other languages. 2 and 3 years Dagestan, forget that's like now. It's a meme joke at this point. How's the work? Work is great. It's going well. I didn't have anything. I think I just have a coffee. I'm like a late breakfast person. Sometimes I skip the breakfast completely, so just... Do you know Georgian Hulk? Yes, I know Levan Saginashvili. I met him a few times when I used to work in Champions Academy gym, which is quite a big gym, and a lot of Georgian athletes would go there to train. But like, I'm not like very familiar with him personally, but he's definitely very polite, like a gentle giant, very good guy. Did you see he invited Devin Larat to Georgia in like the Tamada costume? That was very very refreshing to see. Yeah, the arm wrestler. How are you doing? I'm doing well. 2-3 years Dagestan, forget. Yes, I saw that. Please don't spam, guys, though. Like, I read through now. I'm trying to read through all the comments. You're looking lean for a fighter. Well, I'm a boxer, and I'm at my leanest probably. Like, now, I never been walking around 53 out. Like, I weighted 60 plus or 59 before, and then I, went through body recomposition, also, matured with my body, obviously, comparing to younger age, and diet, obviously, improvement. Like, my husband taught me a lot about nutrition, and we've been together for more than 4 years now, so yeah, a lot of changes in that period. So now I'm like walking around 53. I fought at 52 my first debut fight, then I had a non-official fight that was 53, but I'm looking forward to go lower, so getting even more lean. Mary Jane, yeah, I've heard that before. Hello from England. I always skip breakfast and sometimes have blueberry smoothie. Yeah, that sounds good. As long as you get your protein and macros later in the day, and you just do it smart. You don't need to eat, like some people prefer eat 3 times. Some people prefer to eat 2 times. Some do OMAD, though I don't recommend for women to do OMAD all the time. For men, I think they can operate as long as they get their calories in. There are quite a lot of athletes and fighters who do OMAD. So yeah, I mean, it's quite individual. That's how they do in Asia, in Vietnam as well. Like, that's the heart. Funny joke. I have a Cuban friend. She's a dancer, and her colleague came to her, like, just showing, like, a little cute Vietnamese girl, just showing her height, and she's like, "Eh? What's this? I don't have money. You give me money." So, like, she thought it was like a she was asking for money, and then she learned it was just a appreciation. The biggest guys are usually gentle giant. Georgian Hulk is truly so respectful and incredible athlete. Oh, absolutely. My husband is a big guy, and he's just a sweetheart, a teddy bear. I mean, he can be scary and dangerous, but that's the thing about those guys. They have a capacity to be dangerous, but most of the time they choose to be sweethearts. God bless you, ma'am. God bless you too, guys. Becky Lynch, it's #1 reference today. I just have to here to witness the chaos. You don't get to see much chaos. Like, my live streams are usually very chill. Like, genuinely, like, I don't argue much, and the guys are very usually respectful and chill, and sometimes they troll, but we can have a good laugh together. You have beautiful eyes and hair. Where are you from? I'm from Rome, New York. Interesting. I didn't know that there is a Rome in New York. I only knew about Rome in Italy. I'm from Georgia, Tbilisi. So, by the way, same country as Levan Saginashvili, same country as Merab Dvalishvili. It's the same country, small country, a lot of great athletes. I already said I'm from Georgia. You look like a Bella from Twilight. I've been told that a few times maybe in my life. I don't know, from certain angle, I guess. You're Irish? No, I'm Georgian. Morning, England. Hi, England. I'm 6'10", and well, Grady, you seem to sound like a big guy. Gentle giant, hopefully. Well, ain't nobody coming to save me, Marty's saying. I learned that. Had to build my strengths where the pain's at. Had to find my way when I felt lost. Had to keep my face even when it comes with the cost. Well, amen to that. Let's share this. You gotta do this. You're gonna be able to do that. But I still believe that you gotta be smart and at some point surround yourself with the good people, because yeah, you gotta be able to save yourself and rely on yourself at the end of the day, but it's a always higher chance to have a good support when you choose right spouse, for example. That's one of the biggest investments in your life, or good friends, colleagues. Like, you don't want to be around shitty people. That's what I'm trying to say. Do you speak Portuguese? No, I don't, but well, on Instagram, funny enough, I have one of the biggest audiences is from Brazil. Popo Freitas followed me, which is one of their legendary boxers from 90s, and like, very interesting. So I kind of started to practice. I mean, I don't know, like, I know obrigado, that's it, thank you. But I'm having this idea that maybe to like try to get decent in Portuguese, or Brazilian Portuguese at least, and see where that goes. Well, if you speak Portuguese, tell me how hard of the language it is. I already speak 3 languages fluently: Georgian, my home language; Russian, because my family was bilingual or is bilingual; and English is self-taught. I'm quite proud of it. I learned English fluently over the years, since 2020, by myself. And well, then I met my husband, who is Norwegian but speaks fluent American English, and well, it's been full-on practice since then. Where are you from? I love your English. Pace is super understandable for me. Would you say in Georgia people speak like you? I think Georgian people have more of an accent. I still have some sort of accent, but my accent is more Eastern European. You can take like a generic. And sometimes people even think I might come from somewhere from England or Ireland, which I don't think I sound like them, but I would say my English is more generic for Eastern Europe. So self-taught. I tried to just aim for like a generic understandable English, so people can easily understand me. Why is judo so prevalent in Georgia? King Kara is asking. Well, it's a good question. Well, I think what happened is we have few wrestling styles in Georgia, which are very similar: Greco-Roman, judo elements. There's like one style is called Chridoli. Then there is like a Georgian wrestling practiced in mountains of Georgia. And I think when those sports started getting popularized in the country, Georgians were just picked on it, like, because they were kind of doing that. And that is very common for the countries who have their, like, historically, like, their wrestling. Wrestling is one of the most common sports. You have it in Olympics back in Greece. You had, like, you know, you have cultures where just they've been practicing it without knowing that they practice it, kind of thing. And yeah, by the time I think judo came in Georgia, Georgians were already wrestling for a very long time, for many generations. Merab versus Yansri, excited for this one. Well, one good thing is Merab rested, definitely. There was like, he did RAF with against Cejudo, which was good. I mean, not much damage. I think it was good practice and just a little side hustle. But generally, Merab seems to like rest enough. That is a very important thing. Another thing I would say, well, now they're kind of equal in the terms of both of them had enough time to anticipate some changes in each other's plans, and I think it's really going to depend on the plan, on the right strategy for both for Piotr Jan and for Merab, and obviously Team Merab, of course, Team Georgia against anybody else in the sport, but never, like, I'm for the mentality of never underestimate your opponent, never give a disrespect in the sense of, oh, they're not good enough. I've been hearing that a lot, like MMA fans and some Georgian and international fans do that they're not good enough, or it's just like, no. Like, Piotr Jan is one of the probably the best bantamweights of the history of the bantamweight division. Great fighting IQ. So yeah, never underestimate your opponent. Okay, I keep scrolling up. California cheesecake. I laughed my ass about this one. There was like, Khabib, I paid for this guy's English the whole year, and then they're like, in the defense of Islam in this case, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think about Ian Garry? I think the guy has everything to be a good fighter, but I don't know, the more interviews I listened, like his speaking and his attitude, the more I cringed out. The hugging face to face after each round in the fight. Come on, dude, what are you doing? Like, this, to me, that felt so staged. And I actually liked Ian Garry before seeing all of that in the recent time before the fight. But then I saw his interview. For me, the biggest change in my likability towards young Garry was in his interview. Yeah, he talked about women ruling. Yeah, okay, blah blah blah, whatever, like that BS. But for me, the biggest turn off was when he started saying about his family, that like very negatively, that only Lila's been supporting him, and well, they're being like non-supportive, and he had to work the job. Oh, poor young, like, he was making himself like a victim. And I've seen his older video before he got married, where he actually says that, well, his father been sick all his childhood, and he tried to do his best to participate, and their mom was doing everything, like would drive them to the competition, to school, completely different. So he's been lying against, like, he just changes the words he says, and then his brother calls him out and says, like, stop doing that bullshit. Like, I'm gonna keep calling, like, exposing you. So that's not good. That was the biggest, like, no, don't do that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say more about that. As a fighter, to be honest, I think he went too much into building that image and kind of safe image that, oh, I'm so respectful. To me, that looks more fake. A lot of times he talks over people. A lot of times he talks at people, other fighters, I mean. And yeah, to me, young Garry is not a nice guy. Just looks all fake. But at the same time, he has all the attributes. He could be so much greater. And in this fight, it showed again that, okay, I understand, two counter punchers, it's a little bit uncomfortable. Islam had the foot ahead and like in the striking position, so yeah, that is. But when you have such a reach advantage, a little bit more volume, a little bit of more, or like fake feints or fake movements to cause Islam to come at him, and like he could do that. Like he had everything to do those things, and he does not. To me, when people say about young Garry's IQ, I think it comes down, the biggest thing that he's been really good at, I think he would not let his opponents do their game plan and kind of catch them in the end and win by that. And he doesn't have that many finishes either. A lot of his fights are decisions, right? But you cannot rely on that. Sometimes you need to cause the damage, be aggressive. You need to be diverse in your strategy. And well, that's my take. I don't know. Let me know if you agree or disagree, or who you're cheering for. How you been? I've been doing great. Zach, welcome back. Yeah, some people are coming back. Yeah, it's been a while, not a very long, but well, I was preparing for my fight. I won it. You can see it on my YouTube. It wasn't official. It doesn't go on my record, unfortunately, but a lot of learning I did from this one as well. And I'm starting my training again from this week now, from today. And yeah, we're going to see what's next. I'll keep you updated, and I'll try to live stream more consistently. I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. You gotta have to be both at times. UFC fighter? No, I'm a boxer, but I'm UFC. Let's call it enthusiast. I just like watching it and break down a little bit. I've been training a little bit here and there. So boxing being my base, but I did a little bit BJJ. I did a little during pandemic. I would train with some kickboxers, MMA fighters. So I kind of understand how those work, at least at the level, so I can watch and understand the sport. Garry's a simp. I mean, what can I say? I can't disagree with that. Young Garry is a Conor wannabe. Well, it's fun enough. Like, a lot of people like to compare other fighters to Conor McGregor, whether they really try to copy them or not. Like, Conor McGregor became such a thing. Sometimes some fighters don't. I don't think young Garry tries as much. He actually does opposite of what Conor did. Like, with the Islam's fight, for example, he tried to be nice, kind of opposite of what Conor would do. But because he's from Ireland, there's some resemblance, and that he did some Conor movement, I guess people think. Same was for Topuria. There were some other fighters that been compared to Conor. So I think fans always gonna find some resemblance, or even like one or two resemblance with Conor, and then they're gonna call that whether the fighter trying to copy Conor McGregor. So I'm trying to be fair, even though, like, as I said, a lot of things that young Garry does and talks does not resonate with me and just cringes me out. But at the same time, I try to give him a credit. For example, his takedown defense was better. He was actually, I think if he was more aggressive, if he was more like, wouldn't it be if he didn't lock in that weird attitude? It was like, oh, I respect you so much. Oh, let's hug Garry. Like, yeah, if he didn't do that, I guess, and just lock in a little bit more. As I said, physicality, that preparation, that size and weight advantage, he could use that in a better way. That's 100%. So I'm trying to be as fair as possible. Love your hair color, thank you. I don't live there, but thanks for the insight. Okay, cool. Oh my God, the balloon challenge. I never have balloons, never happen to have balloons near me. He was good in that fight, he was just not aggressive, and he was worried too much about wrestling. Kind of, yes, but again, we're talking about top tier. We're not talking about just some kid oh, like some kid against Islam Makhachev, he's so inexperienced. Come on, no, dude had only one loss against Shaukat, and well, he actually injured him for good. So no, guy was was top contender. That attitude, like a lot of excuses that people give. Oh, if he did it's a little bit odd. Like it's a little bit odd. No, like it's his work to lock in. That's why I say, like, a lot of things he does, it just doesn't resonate with me. Yeah, don't spam, please. I'm gonna read through the comments. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Hi, Argentina. Okay. Islam won, you can try and make excuses. I knew that Islam would win. I actually had Islam for the win, and he won. He won. In the worst case, he won 3-2. And arguably that one round was third or fourth round, you can even give 4-1. But yeah, Islam won quite a precise decision. Like it was not a weak win or anything like that. The only thing that showed is that I think that was first fight where Islam had a size disadvantage, and you could see that welterweight division, that size and the weight aspect plays a big role. Like let me know what you think about Michael Morales in the division. Like I think he beats Garry. I think he beats Prades. I think he beats Islam too, and not because he necessarily better in wrestling or he's better fighter. The guy is a nature's freak. He's so big for the welterweight. He's single punches. Like I've heard him knocking out people that like you can hear through the noise how he knocks out people flat. Like his last knockout against Brady as well was like crazy. He's also judoka, he has wrestling background, and like he's gonna be extremely hard to keep him on the ground. So you know what I mean? Like if you take Garry, passive Garry, who arguably seemed to be hardest fight for Islam just because of that size advantage, or like, you know, just being able to, just being harder to keep him down and requiring more energy for Islam. Yes, Islam might adapt and, you know, stack up more muscle weight. There's gonna be, they're probably gonna do the best from theirs end. But like, if you take Michael Morales, he's just natural nature's freak in the division. Like he could even go to the middleweight and still perform well. He's young, he's ambitious. The only thing is, I don't know, the mentality wise, like he's been winning so far. He seems to be locked in, but he's still young. You don't know. Like, I don't know exactly how stoic he can be at all times. But if we just take his abilities, his natural advantages, I see Islam at the very least struggling so much more than against younger. I think Carlos Prades is another story. When it comes to wrestling, Islam, that's the way to go for him. But with Prades is way more offensive, way more like relaxed and diverse striker in the offense. So obviously, I would be very careful for it. Like if I was Islam, I would not engage with Carlos Prades in the striking. That's quite a big danger. So that's what I would say. But again, you know, it's very interesting, and I think that's a big factor that people neglect: the size, the energy. Like I'm not an MMA fighter, but I'm a boxer, and when whether it's a training sparring with, you know, some guy slightly bigger or, you know, significantly bigger, whether it's a fight with the other women, you know, you get exhausted in certain scenarios, and sometimes the person is just physically stronger than you. Once you brawl a little bit with them, it just drains you out. So I think after I became professional boxer, and I had more consistent training, sparrings and fights, like I started appreciating that factor even more, that not only technique and like the timing and fighting IQ is the factor in certain situations. Sometimes you make that mistake into engaging against somebody who's physically stronger than you and just get tired, you know what I mean? And then that can affect the whole fight. Okay, I'm scrolling up. Hi, Ohio. No need to step in the ring or even spar. I mean, I just said that when you do it yourself and you have a little bit experience, like you experience it on yourself, how it can feel, I think you start understanding that factor a little bit more than people who just watch the sport and maybe they understand it like a, you know, game, like a combat game, but they don't really they have that experience. Like I've seen a lot of guys, a lot of fans saying that, oh, why didn't they just attack? They could do this and that. Just because they were tired, they had to recover, or they were just already mentally drained because they got physically drained. Like that factor is not something that you should take out from the fighting game. What do you think about oral bias laws? I didn't watch it directly, but then I obviously watched the updates and highlights, and that's crazy. That was something quite unexpected, but another proof that everything can happen in MMA or just generally in combat sports. Anything can happen. Ian is a tall dude. Everyone was saying Islam's kick won't reach him, but we also that jiu-jitsu. Yeah, that was a beautiful knockdown though, and that was a great combination. It was like that kick kind of went out of nowhere. And when people say that, oh, Islam just hugging, come on. At the very least, you gotta give Islam the credit. He's quite a good counter striker. At the very least, his distance control is quite precise too. Like every time Garry would flinch, like the inch control was quite on point. So yeah, I don't understand that hate about like Islam specifically. The guy is a GOAT already. And to me, even though I'm not necessarily a fan of Dagestani fighters in everything, and there is like Georgian versus Dagestani fighters like a rivalry, Islam is arguably my favorite out of these guys, and like well deserved. Like you cannot. There's a lot of things. There are a lot of things I like about him. His personality, his like sense of humor. My favorite thing is when they're roasting DC. That's the funniest part. But yeah, as a fighter as well, he has the mentality. He showed that even having disadvantages, he can lock in when people say, "Oh, he got tired." Then what? Being a fighter is when you get tired, when you get uncomfortable, and you still win. Or you still can turn everything around. From the other hand, people find excuses for young Garry. Oh, young Garry, if he could do this, well, he didn't. He didn't do this. He didn't do certain things for certain reasons. Whatever it is, I think he can learn from it, but no excuses. I'm running through random lives on YouTube, and I like people who talk about things they like. Mario, I definitely like watching people fighting. And I like boxing. I do boxing myself, so yeah, it's cool. I don't think it's a size difference or disadvantage. Look at Volkanovski, almost everyone is bigger than him, but nobody talks about size advantage when he fights. It's a very good point, I agree. But I think when you have featherweight / lightweight, like those are lighter divisions. There, the speed factor. One of the reasons Volk is quite strong, even though he's shorter, he's a strong guy. That's very important. You might have a height disadvantage, but you might have the strength advantage. That's a very big thing. So you basically get tired less, you can go like harder, bigger volume. Another thing about Volk is he's also unicorn. Like Volk is one of my favorite fighters, like out there, like right now here in the active fighters. So inspiring at his age, having that discipline, that like IQ, that work ethic. But a lot of fights is that Volk doesn't. He actually is very good at cutting distance and coming out. If you watch both of the Diego Lopez fight, that's what he would do. He would not engage into brawling or anything. Well, that happened to him with Ilya, and you see what happened, you know? Like, he just got knocked out. With the Islam, his first fight, the decision fight, was quite good. I wouldn't say he won it, but, you know, it just showed his level, like how big of a level he is. But I do think that in a featherweight, sometimes that speed factor and like speed plus timing is easier to use as an advantage, despite the size difference. In the welterweight and middle, like even in lightweight to a certain extent, you could see it to Poirier versus Gagey. It was a physical. Like there were some. Ilya just went in thinking that he would knock out Gagey like this, but forgot that Gagey hits like a truck and is like incredibly endurant athlete, probably one of the most endurant in the sport, right? And then in the welterweight, now we see that Islam, who had a size advantage too in the lightweight, and he was doing great. That wasn't the only thing, obviously, but it was one of the things on his side. And then in welterweight, now he's facing those bigger guys, and despite Garry not doing his best performance, there were a few moments that like you could see he was way more tired. It was way harder to keep him down than anyone from the lightweight division. So that's what I think when I say size advantage, it also goes for you have size advantage that can be executed, you have reach advantage that can be executed, you have weight advantage that is executed, or power, strength. So when I say size, I kind of mean all of those. Like, for example, Diego Lopez couldn't do anything despite his size advantage against Volk's speed, precision, his IQ, his just endurance, his ability going in, going out, footwork, and not getting tired. That's a big factor. Like, Volk can't do those things for all the championship rounds. And he's also like, if he pins you very well there, like some of his combos is like you don't want to, get trapped by Volk in the certain positions, because I think there was a knockdown in the one for a second fight when like Diego Lopez kind of like wobbled too. So yeah. I think Islam beats Morales, not easy, but I think wins, he will definitely submit Carlos. I think, hi Hillbilly, by the way, but welcome back. I think if Islam beats Morales, I think he beats Prades too, but there are no zero risks there either. He becomes legend. He can retire. I really think he can retire after if he goes through, even if it's just a decision, even if it's just like a close decision against him and Morales, he can retire as one of the best. The reason why I think that Morales is the biggest trouble him is exactly those reasons, the combination of those reasons. His knockout power, his size and reach advantage, his durability, his judo / wrestling background, him being young and basically peaking at this point. And the only thing, as I said, I'm not sure about his mentality. He's been undefeated so far, or like except this. There was like I think one loss, or it was like an amateur fight loss. I don't know. There are like some mess up with his record, but it doesn't matter to me. Like the fact is he's been having majority of the wins on his career. So yeah, that's it's okay. Islam could drop him, but you saw how difficult it was even against Garry. That just trained some takedown defenses and actually was not like bad at it, and it was so much energy for Islam to actually hold him down. I don't see him like he might drop Morales, but how he's gonna hold him down, or even he might just get up and Islam gets tired. It's just gonna be hard. And when it comes to striking, to be honest, in this one, how do you imagine taking Morales's like those punches? how do you imagine that? Like it's like it's a very, I just whatever scenario I imagine, it just blows my mind. I'm like, no, that kid is a danger for the division. But I think Young can beat Morales. That's why style changes fights. I mean, there is always a chance, but I gotta be honest. I think Morales walks through Young Garry, especially if he's with the same mentality. Oh, I respect you. Those mind games and like that, all that nonsense. Just Morales just goes out and just, yeah, just just hurts him. Okay. I would pick Islam over Morales. As I said, Islam wins against Morales. I think he can retire and he's a legend. He already is to a certain extent, but it's like one last kind of hurdle. I still think that Morales has, I would actually take 60 over 40% to Morales. I might be wrong, but that's how I see it. The energy in here is unmatched. Yeah, I'm also in a good mood. I'm well rested. After my last fight, I rested like the whole week now and just starting training today. So yeah, I'm quite in a good mood. Do you think Jan's wife controls him and pulls the strings behind the scenes? I mean,
100%.
my husband says, yes.
Ian Garry's the biggest simp in the known universe.
Yeah, that's my husband saying. I mean, I'm always trying. Yeah.
His wife literally has her hands so far up his ass and she's using it like a sock puppet.
Oh.
Pathetic thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, man, that's like, and she has this book written before Jan, but it's like how to become a wag, a wife of the goat, or yeah, whatever. That's a woman who writes a book how to become a wag. I don't know, man. I don't know. And again, this change dynamic of the family. Ian Garry is not coming from the bad family. His family, they maybe told him that, son, you might need to have some plan B because, well, it's good if you achieve everything, but you need to. And if he takes that as they didn't believe in me, but at the same time, before his wife, he would speak differently. Yeah, that is some sort of influence that I can feel there. So I don't know. It doesn't I think he might be a great father to his son and he might treat his wife well, and that's a good thing. But again, we'll see. If we in a few years, or in the near future, if we see a divorce news, wife divorcing him and taking half of this stuff, that's, I'm not saying that's gonna happen. They might stay in the end together. Maybe that was her plan, that she's not getting younger and she has this now great fighter as her husband, and they have a kid together, and well, her ex-husband is a nutritionist, and they are now all took the Machado Garry surname just to make the family have with the same surname. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, people's lives, they do what they do. Islam has skills. Well, Islam has skills, but Islam has also experience. He has the mentality. No one say that Islam doesn't have a mentality. Like, if anyone says that Islam is like that, no, he's not. They might be, Dagestani fighters are quite pragmatic, so they might be careful who they select as the opponent and how they do that. Which I think there's nothing wrong with that. You need to kind of level up, and there's no point of messing with that as well. But whoever Islam faces, he always showed the strong, very strong, locked-in mentality. So a combination landed perfectly. It should be knockout for sure. Islam, you mean that knockdown? Well, it was fun. Like, Islam came at him and he threw the hook, and I always see that, and it's hard to say it like when per person is fighting and it's like a fight and flight response sometimes. But I was like, throw that uppercut, because when Ian was getting up and Islam was there, the best punch to do is whether a knee or the uppercut from the bottom, because person is still, they're not upright, straightly upright yet, and maybe it could be different if he actually landed one good uppercut or a knee at that point. But well, it's happened. What the fact is, the Ian, I think, was off. Like the lights were turned off for a second. It just, he's a big guy. He just, like, obviously got back, and he's still a experienced fighter. So he just got up quickly, saved himself. But that was a beautiful knockdown. From India, when Ilya can make a comeback? Oh, that's interesting. Well, I actually like Islam's take. Islam criticized Ilya for underestimating Garry and partying before, like celebrating before, like actual win, those kind of things. But still, he said that he believes that Topuria is actually a very talented fighter, and if he takes this loss correctly, if he really becomes stronger, comes back stronger mentally and physically after that loss, he can become champion again, and that would be great. I think that's the best scenario for Topuria. I hope Ilya, I don't know him personally, so I don't know his personality. He was a little bit arrogant. He was a little bit like Thanos, picking up all the legends, knocking them out, and I think he kind of went to his head a little bit. If he actually comes back with the real humility, understanding that no one is unbeatable, but not everybody comes back as well, that will be great. And well, Islam says he believes that's possible. So I believe too. I believe it's possible too, but I don't know. For Ilya, I would see Ilya against Arman Tsarukyan. I would love to see Ilya versus Paddy Pimblett. They're at least those two I want to see. Those two fights I would want to see. And well, rematch was Garry, but we'll see how that goes, because we don't know if Garry wants to fight again or he retires before that. But if possible, obviously seeing the rematch would be cool too. Garry didn't throw with bad intentions. I gotta be honest, when he was just standing like that, Islam was way more he would they were both a counter punching position. So at some point, there are moments it was awkward for both of them. But Islam was more he would try to cause Garry to come in, or he would come forward. He would be more mobile, and I like in the striking perspective, everyone says Garry. No, Islam was better. Islam executed whatever he had better, and then Garry is just standing there and just waiting for that. Come on, dude. There were some good low kicks and head kicks. A lot of them were blocked by Islam, but some of them went through. I think a couple or three at least went through. And you could see the damage. Then there was headbutting while wrestling. There are other, just accidental damage, not the striking damage specifically. But Garry, imagine having that reach and not just throwing. Sometimes you can just throw the volume, because as a striker, as a boxer, I can tell you, when someone, boom, does this in front of you with that reach, and boom, boom, he could literally do that to Islam. Yes, Islam is dangerous, but he could overwhelm Islam more. Instead, he was just standing there, and Islam got a little bit comfortable, and that's how that knockdown happened. That's how, things happened. So Garry barely, you were saying, he didn't do nothing except some of the takedown defense, and he was managed to time some of the takedowns better or get up from those takedowns. Islam deserved the win. Garry for stepping up. He definitely can be a future champ. Garry, I think if he throws away all that nonsense mentality he has, maybe, which I don't think he will. I don't see Garry winning with that mentality, with that attitude, or even with that execution against Morales. I even think that if it's Ian Garry versus Prades rematch, even Prades has chances to, you know, win against him. So Ian Garry has to prove a little bit that he actually can be a champion. For me, I see Michael Morales as the next champ. Let me scroll. Chat is long. Chat is long. All the UFC commenters, fighters except John Anik. Yeah, there's some. There's this lady whose name I always forget, but she's not a bad commentator either. But she is not a fighter. Are you left or right? A lovely after race. Welcome back. You mean Southpaw and Orthodox? I kind of both now. Like I'm naturally Orthodox, but I switched to Southpaw and I train in both stances. So. No, it's not my origin. I'm a fake redhead. Yeah, Islam's the best. He said you tell her about don't ask. I love this comedy. The about the wife, Demetrius Johnson. Like, wow, you need to tell her. You don't ask. Yeah, that was funny. I mean, people can get offended as much as they want, but like. I actually thought about my thing because me and my husband are inseparable. We travel together. He's basically my manager too. Like when it comes to my fighting, social media, we do a lot of things, and he has a lot of managerial and like a system creating role. He's also my nutrition and strength and conditioning coach. Like if my husband would just go to Dagestan, it's like I would just feel abandoned. To be honest, so it depends on the dynamic. It really depends. Some couples do that, and some couples just travel together all the time. So you know what I mean. MMA is just for men. As you wish. There are women there as well. Actually, the more you see, you watch UFC, they have some women commentators. Now it's getting to the point they have, like, obviously they're fighters, some great ones as well. Okay, gotta be honest, not like quantity-wise, not as many faces as the male, but they just try to, and funny enough, the main audience is still male. So some men, obviously they watch men's fight, but they also like watching women's fight. Okay, tell me, don't you like to watch Mackenzie Dern fighting? Not only for her skills, but she's just nice to look at. Like, and sometimes in the women's MMA, some shit happens that never happens in men's MMA because of some differences in the, like, women, for example, I think majority don't have as much of like a one punch knockout power. That's why you can see a lot of like other things compensating that factor. So, or come on, like one of the recent cool moments, like Alessa Grasso against Macy Barber, that is a Hall of Fame type of finish. That was a knockout, and she was off in the air, and then like Alessa Grasso has a really good killer's instinct. I really like that about her. She goes under, like, goes for the rear naked choke, yeah? And you could see for a moment that it was like, was Macy Barber dead? Or like, what? Like, that looked scary and beautiful at the same time. Speaking of the killer instinct, one of the Valentina's loss was that. She made that little mistake, was spinning back kick or something, and Grasso gets her on the rear naked choke. So, I rant a little bit. I know that was a little rage bait, which, I mean, I don't get rage baited like that, but there are some women fights that you gotta give the credit to. I'm from Georgia, yeah, that's true. From Tbilisi. Who do you think better, Ilya or Islam? To be honest now, Islam is probably the higher position with his achievements. Taporia is not, like, it's really about him coming back. Like, you have GSP, who lost some of his fights, came back and won the rematches, and he's one of the GOATs in his right? So being undefeated or having that undefeated streak, which, well, Islam now beat the Anderson Silva's record, the winning streak. So again, if you compare those two, in that like Islam is ahead right now, but I'm very excited to see what Topuria is gonna do. There's two ways: whether he goes on a decline, like it happened to Adesanya and some of the other fighters. It happened to Race after a certain point, like just arguably won against John Jones, and then after that, boom, like unstable wins versus losses. Or Topuria becomes like GSP type of, just getting on a new winning streak, like really rematch with Gaethje, win the fight, like whatever, just turn the tables around. As the fighter, to be honest, I like Ilias striking better too. Like the way how he managed to execute boxing and knock out people. When it comes to like the types of fighter, in that case, like I will pick Ilya. Like stylistically, I prefer Ilya. At the same time, I say Islam is quite a good counterpuncher, and well, he's very unpredictable too. Sometimes he has those head kicks. Like he's super flexible. He goes crazy and knocks out people with those head kicks. But he's more a submission performer too. And when people say boring, I don't know. Islam's wrestling is not boring for me. No, like I really like quite tensed up when I watch his wrestling specifically. Since you're talking about Khabib, did you hear what the Irish guy said about Islam? Which Irish guy? Connor or young Garry, or which one? Which Irish guy? I'm from Georgia. It's actually our neighbors, and yeah, we have some rivalry with Dagestanis, and there's like some political that they represent Russia. Georgia hates Russia because we're they occupied our 20% of our land, and we want to be independent country. It's some of that kind of stuff, but genetically, we're quite close, to be honest. Like Georgians, especially north of Georgia, with Dagestan, literally bordering. We have a lot of common history, both negative and friendly, different situations, different occasions. So, yeah, I'm just saying that I have in a lot of ways, I have respect towards them. There are some things I disagree with, obviously, like Khabib's take about women, and that's his opinion. He says that's my opinion, women shouldn't be doing that, it's like hard sport. Well, I would agree if that was women versus men, but if it's women versus women, I don't understand the point of that thing. So I might disagree on that, but there are a lot of things like discipline, there's the consistency, their pragmatism. There was actually talks about what Georgians can learn from Dagestani in some of our Georgian fighting groups, and some guys pointed out very well that one thing we could learn from them is a little bit more being more pragmatic. To have that, like for example, Merab wasn't very pragmatic when he went with a machine, and he would do very hard water cuts and he would drain himself. That was the fourth fight in a year. Yeah, it was great that he was active, but it cost him. Because he overestimated his basically body physical abilities to recover and be at the optimal performing level, right? And then, that's one of the factors that because of which he lost against Piotr Jan. Against Piotr Jan, who was preparing for Merab, recovering, training, game plan, everything was on point, right? With Topuria, same. He was I don't know, he underestimated Gaethje so much. It wasn't the same Topuria who is very careful, who has a good boxing defense, and he did against Wolk or Oliveira or Max Holloway. That wasn't the same Topuria. That was a Topuria who was just going like this and thinking that he would just knock out. He was literally and the only thing Gaethje did in the beginning, which worked the best, jabbing him off. Used his advantage. Having a reputation of hitting like a truck, that was not very pragmatic of Topuria. Now that I look at it, from this perspective. So one thing we could learn from them is being more pragmatic, I think, regarding the opponents and regarding the, preparation, taking the breaks and those kind of things. I don't know. You let me know what you think about, like, if you agree with this. Well, Gruzia, it's like, it's in Russian, then Gurjistan is in Persian. Sakartvelo is in Georgian, so yeah, like when I hear Gruzia, like, when Russians say in their language, I understand that, but it's like Georgia internationally and Sakartvelo that I really prefer. I like it more that way. I'm 160 centimeters tall, or it's 5'2" or 5'3" feet. Well, never knew that. Oh, I said a lot of things. Daily reminder to stay hydrated. You're right. Beautiful British English. Baby, do I sound British English sometimes?
I don't know, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Not really.
Not really, yeah, I know, but yeah, sometimes people, I don't know. Yeah, it's, I think a generic, like Eastern European English, I guess. Do you ever fight UFC? No, I don't fight UFC. I'm on my boxing career now, and growing my social media presence, a lot of things to be able to get in the good promotions in the future. Trying to do it smart way. In the meantime, I do a lot of background work, polishing my boxing, learning from both winning and losing experiences, and just my goal, I want to become a very good boxing performer, not just winning specifically, but when people watch my boxing, they think that, okay, that's women's boxing evolved quite well. And you have some other female boxers that you can see doing that, but I want to be one of them. I want to be one of the boxers that the audience, they watch the fight and they see that because I always say, I cannot be stronger or faster or more explosive as a man when it comes to, so the learning how to distribute energy and pace and be smart about it for women's body is a little bit different than a man's body. But who said I can have a good technique or good timing or good form or, distance control? So at the end of the day, fighting, boxing, it's performative too, right? And you can see it's about what you see and how it looks to a certain extent, right? Everything else, like learning how to be a knockout artist, that's one of the things I'm working on. I have a lot of amateur boxing habit, which is like I would do combo and then just always leave that left hook or jab on the exit. And when I rewatched my fight, the one I lost first and then the one I won, I was like, I just do that. I just do 1, 2, 3 and step back. In some scenarios, that is a good thing, but that's not very, if I really hope to actually start really knocking out people in their liver or damage those areas, the positioning needs to be a little bit different. So yeah, that's one of the things I'm working on now. That's just love it. Just love doing it. Merab is getting that MF belt back. Yeah, amen to that. Fingers crossed. Can't tell if you can throw hands. Thank you. Hello, man, fully fitness lady. I saw your vlog, really inspiring. Keep it up, really good exercise. I'm asking wife to follow you. Ah, that's sweet. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. If a woman flirts your man, then what would you do? Well, we are very trusting, like a couple. We're not like people who go out separately specifically. We like to be at home, we like to be with each other. So if we go out together, we go out together. And that happens sometimes. And I'm very chill. I'm actually funny and joking around. If someone would come to me and do really be disrespectful or something, or rear naked joke. No punching. I wouldn't want to hurt some other lady's face, but just Rear naked choke. Sleep them. Hello, I'm new here. What is your channel about? Fighting, talking about fights, my boxing journey, my art journey. I'm also an artist, so when I create new artwork pieces, I also live stream that. A little bit of hobbies like singing and just talking about topics that are related to life and sports and mentality. That's pretty much it. LOL. MMA in the future? At this point, don't see really myself. Like, yeah, I know how to do leg kicks, to be honest, but boxing is something where I really love. I really feel more and more as like a fish in the waters. So at this point, yeah, I would not think about it. You never know how life goes and what opportunities come in, but boxing is the peak right now. Oh, fantastic. Are you a professional boxer? Yeah, at this point I am. I didn't win my debut fight, but you can watch it. It's on my channel. Then I won my second fight. It was not an official fight. It was like a club competition, but I won that one. Learned quite a few things from there as well. And now in the process of like looking forward to get my next professional fight. And yeah, my team, the guys that I'm working with, they're working on it. Currently based in Southeast Asia, so the plan is to go for next few fights here around that. It's a good base, good competition. It's good for getting groomed a little bit into that, because I'm for, you need to level up. In women, you don't have many journeymen, and it's not exactly that way. I'm also against someone coming at you and like completely non-experienced that you can easily beat up. That is also not what I think. That's not the best thing, but the level up competition is the good approach. So I hope to get some of those fights here, and at the same time I'm growing my social media platforms. My Instagram's been going quite rapidly up there, like from 1,000 followers a few months ago. I went to 35K now, and well, some bigger accounts following me too. So the idea is to get up some winning record, be smart about it, get that experience in, and then be able to maybe reach out to MVP or some promotions and organizations where they actually they target women's boxing specifically and make it more mainstream. So it might take a year or two, maybe 3, but I'm just excited. Like I think no matter how far it goes or how fast it goes, it's an exciting journey. Watching from South India, cool. I would say work on the body shots, exactly. Also, it was good. So there were other guys who were fighting from our gym. They're 2 twin brothers, and the oldest one is like the one practices longer. Like they actually literally shorter than me. Great guys. And that the older brother, he was fighting last out of us, so we watched his fight, and he knocked out. He was the only knockout in the whole event where he destroyed the other guy's liver. And I kind of saw how it works. Okay, that's how you do it. And I'm repositioning myself a little bit to not only to deliver shots, but body headshots from more. There was also good moments in my fight also, like when there were a lot of fights, like a lot of like I would do combo 1, 2, 3 and exit, more like a amateur type of style, which would give me points, was enough to stop the girl, the opponent, but at the same time it was like knockout. And I know I actually punch harder, like on the back, on the mid. But then there was a moment like I slipped, and then I'd go left hook, and she literally just threw. And even there, I kind of jumped backwards a little bit. So I saw some moments, okay, if I reposition myself a little bit, boom, moving forward, that's going to be better. So punches like 1, 2 punchers from the keep up, block, sleep, 1, 2, or lever, same idea with the body shots. This is the more damaging type of punches. And it's kind of obvious, but at the same time, when you had the fight and you experience, okay, that was this little change I can make, and then you watch your teammate doing, oh, okay, that's what I should do next time to really like go for the liver, for example. Like I can have like focus on head too, but let's say I want to really learn how to hurt the liver, like just more body shots, right? And essentially just, you know, experiencing how that will go. It's a very it's a better learning experience, or something that gives you the understanding what to work on specifically to get there. So my next fight, as I said, I hope to be more precise in my punches. Yes, I'll do the movement. I would let myself rest. I would not waste that first round. I went full in at some point because I thought that girl, like, she was, but you know what? She was shorter. She was more like, her legs were thicker. No way. No, she wasn't backing off. She wasn't backing off. So I got kind of drained myself a little bit. Yes, I won the episode, but I was like, okay, now I need to recover. Not to say, they actually made a mistake. For women, there's 2 minutes, and we were expecting 2 minutes, 3 rounds, like amateur timing, amateur boxing timing, and they did 3. So I'm walking around, it's like, that feels longer than 2. I don't, they messed up something, so I had to adapt right there. I usually train 3 minutes together with guys, but you know what I mean, still. But yeah, I'm just saying, the another lesson I did, you know what, be more pragmatic, especially in the professional boxing where it's like 4, 6, 8, 10 rounds in women's boxing. Be smart about it. You can win an episode, don't drain yourself. You want to make them feel tired and frustrated in the first few rounds, like let's say 1, 2, 3 rounds, and then you can start seeking opportunities of those harder, like, you know, really, really going for it more. So that's how kind of the experience I got in my head, and like, need to be more precise about it, because fighting is not only about just go for it and punch, and it's actually about your own energy management, timing, the pace, and play it like chess, you know. Hi Antarctica, cool. You were looking for a knockout. Yeah, kind of went. And, you know, as I said, it didn't cost me in this one because she was tired too. But then I had to readjust, and I was like, well, okay, kind of drained myself already, and there's 3 minutes. Was not necessary. Good highlight, yes. But like if we would talk about long-term plan, one of the things I'm gonna really be more disciplined in is like learn how to drain them and frustrate them in the first, like, let's say 2, 3, 4 rounds, depending on how many rounds are there. If it's 4-round fight, it has to be in the first 2, and then I have to go 3, 4 harder. If it's 6 rounds, it can be the first 3 rounds, and then from that and halfway through I can go more harder. It's also the factor of that you get warmed up. If you actually go smarter and get those points, get those accurate punches, not as much, let's say, volume, or you go volume, but like, let's say you go easier and then boom, boom, like harder punches. If you set that comfortable pace, you actually, your body warms up too, your neural system warms up too. And by the time they are tired or frustrated, you are holding better. You're actually warmed up, and all of a sudden actually increasing volume is something that makes sense and feels completely natural. So this is kind of little processes that goes in my head, and I'm learning, you know, it's just a learning process. But I think you should ask right questions when you practice, because I can just keep doing the same thing. Oh, yeah, let's say I'm good with my footwork, I can just run around and just, you know, walk around and rely only on my footwork. That's gonna work against some boxers, but it's not gonna work against some as well. So yeah. Garry should be more pressure in round 5, but Islam is GOAT. Islam is GOAT, and young Garry is, at this point, to me, it's overrated. He, like, a lot of yapping, a lot of those things, and he has everything that the fighter would want to, you know, all these parameters, but he's not really using them. Not as well. The one good thing about him, he can adapt, and he can kind of frustrate, like, but it doesn't work with Islam. Islam is too good for that. it's not that level that, oh, they're not gonna work. No, Islam maybe was not as perfect as some of his more dominant other fights, but Islam still executed. So just waiting for them to make a mistake or not being able to keep you down and, waiting for whatever, that doesn't work. Like Garry could do better. General, not only in the first round, but in the first 2 rounds, he could go get that better advantage in striking. Like he could literally set the traps, because they're both counter punchers. He could set traps, like he goes forward, Islam would try to counter, he could set back, go like a counter cross. There are a lot of things with a higher volume and more precision Garry could do, but he didn't. Who do you think will win between Alistair Grasso or Manon? I'll go for Grasso. Grasso is one of my favorites, and I think she's awesome. I love that you said the chess analogy. It is a chess. Like right now, I don't think about only do the combinations. I literally think that how to not drain myself. Not like having a like, how to say that? Not like Garry did, who was like standing and doing nothing. I'm talking about how to do it, like while warming up in the optimal pace, still win points, inflict the damage, create a frustration and fatigue factor for the opponent, and then learn how to do that. Like very good example for me is Terence Crawford when it comes to those things. Like Terence Crawford's fights, I have seen some of his fights, I have seen some highlights, but Terence Crawford is one of the boxers I really gonna start sitting and studying more of his fights again, because he's very good at it. He can give you, let's say there are 12 rounds, he can give, that's what he did with this last fight with Canelo. He basically lost 3 rounds, but I could see he was not hesitant. He was literally reading it, and then beautiful from the 4th round, he just turned the tables around. So that's the goal. That's the goal I think that's the way to look at boxing. Not only boxing, but MMA as well. Yeah, you have different attributes and it's way more diverse in MMA, but kind of the same idea. Let's talk about UFC 330. I gotta be honest, for this one, because it's Vietnam and it's usually my morning time and I like to sleep a lot, I woke up by the time it was Mackenzie Dern versus the Gillian, what was her surname? Anyway, the redhead girl, and then I watched the Makhachev versus Garry, so I can give you takes on those. Everything else I was just one way or another updated through Instagram and news, MMA news. Okay, water. Go up, beat it. It's very difficult, and he's very tall. As a shorter person, at least in boxing, I can tell you that. Yeah, you gotta really get used to it and develop a good good technique for getting in and actually fight against taller opponents. Takes more energy, takes more work than simply be taller person and actually execute boxing basics, basically like the Kronk's boxing or Emmanuel Stewart boxing, which is people just focus on basics, and like Tommy Hearns and Lennox Lewis, like those guys, perfect jab, perfect straight, boom, like just execute that reach. Some of the taller boxers he trained was just worked perfectly. So it takes less energy, less precision time for a taller boxer to have that perfect dose, like jab and cross and like keeping a person on the distance, than for a shorter boxer to really do, I don't know, peekaboo or like angle change or get, however it takes to get in there. So I can, because I've been mostly shorter one, except this last time in my last fight, the girl was shorter than me. I was like, oh my God, that actually, even though I was tired because of that first episode, I actually went like, boom, the jab just lands, boom. A lot of times I throw my jab, I really need to twist my body and get in on the angle to actually reach my jab against like taller guys in sparring trainings or, even taller girls. So it was quite refreshing just to boom, just just do that. It was nice. It was nice to. That's why weight classes sometimes like you. I'm 53 now kgs, and makes sense. Go 50, 48 down there. Possibly gonna give me height advantage, or if not advantage, at least kind of equalize it a little bit. But it still makes sense to be able. So I would. Ideally, if that everything works out, I would go lower weight classes. Start from there, like consistently, like fight whoever is there, and then come up. And then you can come up and actually know that, in average, people or like top boxers there are taller than you, and well, you know what kind of sparring partners to pick. You know what to work on. It's kind of like Manny Pacquiao is a good example. He was like. In the very small weight classes in the beginning, also when he was malnutrition, he was a kid, he was like pretty much same height, or sometimes even like taller somehow. But then he would go up, and pretty much against everybody he was a shorter boxer. But he developed a great style, very explosive, very fast, good timing based style, and volume based style, where he became a legend. 8 weight class champion. Oh, Sal Killed is very, very interesting. Yeah, that's. But Sal Killed, is he welterweight or lightweight? You gotta remind me exactly. But I'm not sure he's welterweight. I think he's lightweight, so he's not gonna face Makhachev specifically. Tank as well. Oh, Tank is great. Yeah, Tank is. Tank is very good, both offensively and defensively. So it's a combination of some of the Philly shell defense, counter punching, and some of the very good offense, and like very powerful. Like he's like power puncher, no matter what he does. So yeah, definitely a lot of things to learn from his boxing. And Garry cried when he won. It's not a bad thing, but some people are like sharks. When they see blood in the water, they attack further. Young Garry, as I said, like for me, there's nothing wrong being emotional, kind fighter, or just like respectful fighter. And there's no problem with that. To me, what I feel is young Garry is just playing. It's just all game. It's just all fake at this point. And I used to like young Garry. I used to think that, oh, what a nice guy, he's like cool, charismatic. But then I started seeing some of his other interviews where he says like, what the hell is this guy even saying? Another bad one was about the Magny, where they had a fight, and he just said about that, oh, he would whoop like a son, like he would whoop his son or something like that. And he didn't say that in like he's beating his kids or anything like that. He just said that he would whoop his ass basically, as like daddy would do to the son. And did you see that rant about, wait a minute, it's like child abuse is not okay. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No one is talking about child abuse. Like, and he talks at people so much, and then he lies about his background and tries to show him as a victim. He literally discredits his own family when he used to talk differently, and his brother calls him out for that bullshit. That is a fake ass talks. Like, that's what I think. So every time now I see him being nice, I don't see that. Even against like when Islam Makhachev didn't understand what he was saying. It's like, shut up, man, you're losing your opponents. Even there was a question towards Islam Makhachev. And Garry said, can I answer that question? Yeah, like Islam Makhachev is the greatest to do that. And then like the guy, especially the guy who doesn't understand English, is like just annoying someone just talking over you and like responding to your question. Like, let me respond to that goddamn question. Wait until your turn. Like, yeah, just, I don't know. Let me know if you agree with that or disagree. It might be just my personal opinion. Garry has no knockout power. Well, with his build, he's supposed to have. He actually supposed to have. It's just his lack of execution on that. Can I beat Ronaldo in the fight? No. Even though he's just a guy, he's been training with Conor McGregor, but he's like, an athlete, one of the best football players, knows a little bit how to spar. He's 180 against me, 160, 20 centimeters. So trust me, if he would punch me, that would not feel nice. Actually, have you seen, was it Bobby Green, babe? Bobby Green and Adrian Broner's boxer. Yeah. So it was this live stream of Bobby Green sparring with one of the Adrian Broner's like boxers, and he's like young guy. Yeah, like 19 something, yeah?
Yeah, his nickname is Bang something, but Bobby Green kept calling him Bomb.
Yeah, I haven't seen that part. What we saw together was that basically, oh, he's gonna whoop your ass. He's like 19, but that kid was smaller, so the height and reach advantage was on Bobby Green's side. And yeah, he's not a boxer, but he's goddamn MMA fighter. That's first. Second of all, there's a very interesting thing. We boxers don't like haymakers, unexpected, weird stuff. Like we're used to training, okay, hook, boom, or like, we're used to training like and fighting against precise, like boxing against boxing. When there's an MMA fighter who has a reach advantage, weight advantage, basically he's a bigger guy, and he's an experienced fighter, and has a head movement, has a timing, even though that doesn't work exactly. Just because you're a boxer, it's not that easy to do that against someone who is a fighter who's taller than you. So it kind of showed that I don't think it disrespected boxing, in my opinion. I think it showed the reality of why the weight classes exist, why the weight bullies are very often becoming a champion, because they just use those advantages. There are like reasons for that. You know what I mean? Just because you're a great boxer, like I can be very good against another great boxer because I know what they're gonna do. I know how to time it. And then someone throws haymakers and they're just like, or they just do like a pace breaking and do the weirdest stuff in the boxing perspective. All of a sudden, it's confusing. A great example was Rico Verhoeven versus Usyk. Arguably one of his hardest fights. Yes, Usyk obviously is a great boxer. He and his corner, they noticed the one weakness, which was he was exposed for the uppercuts. He was going like basically shelling himself up, like the whole back was covering him from like everything, and then he was like clinch, but he was exposed for the uppercuts. And once Usyk started throwing those uppercuts, you saw what happened. I still think it was how to say that, they used it to stop the fight. I would like to see a 12th round, because Rico is a legend in boxing. He was coming back from the worst situations too. But that's not the topic now. The topic is that awkward style, and that was the right strategy. He used his size advantage. He's used all the basics he and Peter Fury could, master or improve in the 6 months period. They did. So just because it was just very uncomfortable style, it was not very, still good footwork. He was actually quite, how to say that, it wasn't perfect for boxing, but he was moving around. He could go in, go out. He's a big guy. He was covering himself. He was pushing Usyk. Usyk had to actually clinch him a lot of times to actually rest and figure out what to do. That's a good proof of, we as the boxers hate unconventional stuff. Even boxers against boxers. Remember, okay, who do we have? Prince Nassim Hamed. The guy would just start dancing something very unorthodox, like new style. Just confusing. Now, like, I'm not the fan of the guy, but Ben Whittaker, kind of the same thing. The older boxers I remember is, what's this name? The Joe Jersey. Like I forgot the name, but there was one of the older boxers, like a black and white period, like when you barely have some fights, but the guy was such a pace breaker, and he would switch stances, very unorthodox style. It would work. So, that's what I wanted to say. Okay. Conor versus Diaz was something else in UFC. Oh, that was amazing times. Yes. Which active fighters fight you like watching or you don't miss watching live? I can't say I don't like. I try not to miss the usual main events because those are obviously the most like interesting. Sometimes I manage to watch the hard card or even prelims. Sometimes I don't. Usually it's my morning time, so I never compromise my sleep because, well, I'm also an athlete who is ready, and sleep is one of the most important things. Of the current fights in UFC, I think obviously Georgian fights, like I wouldn't miss Topuria's and Merab's fight. There was Alex Topuria as well, Ilia's brother. We actually have now a new fighter, Leman Chokheli. I actually know him personally. He signed up the contract with UFC, did his very good debut. So Georgian fighters I never miss. Then you have like their fighters like Volkanovski. You have the fighters like Pereira. Like I really like those, so I always try to keep up. But again, the top 5 fights or top 10 fights, I usually don't miss. I try to watch them live and keep updated. What is your top 5 GOATs in the UFC? You mean like active ones or just generally? Active ones, well, pound for pound, you have Islam now at the moment, 100%. You have, even though I love Topuria and Merab and hope they get back and get that back win, but Justin Gaethje, I liked him before as well, and the more like even after that fight, I like the guy has the legacy. He never lost to anyone. He only lost to champions 5 times, 28 wins. None of his fights been boring. And he manages to get. He's now older lightweight champion. So yeah, Justin Gaethje, Alex Volkanovski for me. The Volk is awesome. Absolutely love him. That comeback after Islam and Topuria became a featherweight. Like everyone kind of was like, oh, he's too old. No shit, he's not. Out of women, I would put Amanda Nunes actually at this point. She's like, even though she was retired and she was planning to come back against Kyle Harrison, I think technically she's back, so she's supposed to fight. So that's why I'm counting her. And who else? Who else? I would put Michael Morales as the number 5 because I think he's gonna rock the welterweight. Manny Pacquiao should have win against Floyd Mayweather. Floyd was very good at picking his opponents, not necessarily weak ones, so I'm not saying that, but I think Manny was injured at that time, and Floyd is master of studying their opponent and those kind of things. So all these factors together, you know. He also had one of the arguable losses that was supposed to be a loss, but I think Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, I don't remember, was it the early money era or it was still a pretty boy era, but and a lot of people think that he lost to Oscar De La Hoya, or at least it should have been a draw or something like that, but we know that it wasn't. Your upper body strength's crazy in it. It's okay. I think I'm quite strong and I'm quite powerful. I can punch powerfully. I just integrate it better. I need to integrate it better in my fighting, and it's basically just shifting my the body mass, the center of the mass. So usually I am very used to having on my back foot as an former amateur boxer and having that school ingrained in me, and now I'm trying to distribute it a little bit differently. DDP is like that. DDP is one of my I like DDP. I think it's funny in the middleweight. So you have Khamzat wins against DDP. Then Strickland wins against Khamzat. And Strickland lost twice to DDP, and now if DDP are gonna fight Strickland, you never know what happens, but he has that psychological advantage that he basically manhandled and mauled Strickland. So that's one of the good examples, those triangles when the MMA math is not mathing. It's just like styles makes the fight, and sometimes it's just, it goes like as a triangle. Khabib or Makhachev? Honestly, Makhachev. I think there's not going to be, Makhachev wouldn't be Makhachev without Khabib and Abdullah Manap, the father, and it just, Makhachev wouldn't be without them. But at this point, just with his achievements, Islam Makhachev. A woman would not stand a chance against a man. I agree. All the situation pretty much, except maybe some, I don't know, if you put Gabi Garcia against the smallest weight and smallest person who, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, most of the time, especially in the controlled fight environment. As a self-defense, of course, you have, I think, unexpected factors that women manage to self-defend themselves against a man who didn't know their background. You have some UFC fighters manhandling some robbers and those kind of things. But yeah, the fighting thing, men against women, listen. Even as Justin Gage said, even if if one man can beat you, two can. You know what he said, right? So that's the thing. Even men against men, it's couple weight classes above, you're done, right? So men against women, that's something that we just need to stop talking about. Just, yeah, I think everyone who is in the right mind, they understand that the bone density, the muscle mass, the testosterone levels, the recovery, the speed, the explosion, everything, men are pretty much ahead. And that's okay, it's fine. Okay, it's about to. Dern versus Robertson. I mean, you saw, it was Dern. Yeah, and Garry versus Islam Makhachev was a war. I wouldn't call it a war. The first 2 rounds of Gage versus Topuria was the war. First 2 rounds, I'm saying, because actually 2 rounds. That was interesting. Gilia could take that. I think he kind of panicked too much, and then he just, I don't know why he tried to go for submission. But that was a war. Or you have the... you have a Dustin versus Gagey fight, for example, or you have Holloway versus Sport. Those are war. You can call it a war. This one was a good fight. It was a good fight. It was in moments it was emotional, but I wouldn't call it a war. Walt versus Evloev in October. That's an interesting one to see. I still think Volk got this, but Evloev arguably has the highest chances comparing to everyone in the featherweight. I think he's talented. But he also has the history of kind of bailing on fights a lot of times. Some of them it wasn't his fault. The opponents kind of canceled, so that happens. But some of them, I think, due to an injury or whatever it is. I don't know what's the situation with him and injury, but we shall see. I still. Team Volk. You're so cute. Leaving a fighting thing, do go into modeling or influencing thing. Technically, I kind of am an influencer. I don't like that word that much, but I definitely grow my following, so that makes me an influencer. When it comes to modeling, I'm not as pretty as to be a model, but at the same time, that's not something I'm a fan of either. It's okay to have a cool photo shoot for a magazine when you're I don't know, a big influencer, maybe here and there, but making I also have seen genuinely model materials. I know some, and I understand why they would make it. I do what I'm passionate about. It's well, it happened to be boxing, and obviously some of the MMA and fighting and talking about those things, doing my personal professional boxing journey. but I also diversify it. I'm not like one of those fighters who are just doing only fighting. I like art. I do quite a high level art. I like music, singing. In the future, I see myself making a band after boxing career and maybe pursue some of the music career. Why not? And just a little bit of lifestyle, I don't know, things like how to maintain and be in your feminine energy as the woman in the male-dominated sports, for example. Those kind of things. I'm happily married. My husband is basically non-stop, like 24/7 together with me, and he's like my manager, my strength and conditioning coach. A lot of things that I do and I've done is because of that man's support, and he's just being the backbone of a lot of things. And that's my topics. That's what I'm talking about, what I'm sharing here. Who's the best boxer in the UFC? I'll pick Ilya and Joshua Van. Like, not just the striking. Yes, you have Holloway, who has highest number of throwing strikes. He's like so much ahead of the volume punching, but he's not boxer. If you take the positions, you have Alex and Ilya Topuria, who are like really, they somehow integrated pure boxing into MMA, and you have Joshua Van, which, this fight against Tatsuro Taira, I haven't been following him much, honestly. I had to rewatch some of his other highlights, and then when I watched his Tatsuro Taira fight, his boxing is legit, like something that as a boxer I would call it boxing, you know what I mean? Okay. So cool, you're into MMA, very nice. It's a very interesting, very mental, very diverse sport. Like, what can I say? Boxing is kind of similar process to me. Obviously, it just goes in a fist fighting, and there are other things to do. But fighting generally, that mentality of standing someone in front of your opponent, studying them beforehand. Ask right questions, improve in the sport is a great, like, I just like talking about those things. I just like not only understand it for just for analysis, but also for myself as the up and coming boxer. Of course, actually, you are also Georgian. Yes. Gamarjoba, Nego Brebo. Yes, I'm Georgian. I wouldn't bet against Wolf. Yeah, me neither. What's your name? Randomly found you scrolling. What from India? What's your name and where are you from? My name is Diana and I'm from Georgia, Tbilisi. True that I understand. Like Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald. Yep. Hi, Matt. Salkat is also a kill fighter, all-around fighter. Now he just needs to fight well against top contenders. Yeah, and that's a part of the grooming process. I think in UFC they have a good way of, quite a good system when it comes to when you're up-and-coming fighter, like you fight people under top 15, then you get in top 15, top 10, and just like, based on your performance, and not only fighting performance, ideally your, like, kind of likability in the audience, you can go up, but they also go up kind of like you get gradually leveling up, and that makes sense. That's kind of part of successful fighting career. I still think at 155 with Cecilia, 50-50, anyone's fight. Oh, in 155, I still think that obviously Islam and Ilya have a quite a, I mean, that's a stylistic fight. I would say that before, and I still say that. What Topuria did against Gage, he would lose against Islam. If he would do something like he did against Oliveira, against Holloway, that's another story. That's really another story, and like he would be very unexpected and very dangerous for Islam out there. Also consider Islam is a counterpuncher, but Ilya faced a lot of good counterpunchers, and he knew how to get there, predict that counterpunching, dodge that too, and then go in from the comfortable distance. When it comes to wrestling, I have not, like with Gagey, Ilya was so distressed from the beginning that wrestling attempt, I don't think it showed his abilities. But I would say that I would pick Islam, and if he would manage to keep him down. And that's the thing, he would be able to hold, Topuria is not weak, but I don't know, comparing to any welterweight for Islam, it obviously would be easier to hold someone like Topuria on the ground, right? So Ilya would want probably avoid it or have a good... When it comes to takedown defenses, I think Ilya could use that. As someone who has a Greco-Roman base, I'm just not sure how much he's been doing an accent on it. I think later fights, because of his knockout spectacle, Ilya was focusing quite a lot on boxing. And kind of maybe not as much on wrestling. I don't know. I cannot tell you that. I cannot tell you how exactly it was. But yeah, that would be the take. In a welterweight, I don't think Ilya really has a chance, to be honest. Even he even showed for light in the lightweight, he's small. It just so far he executed, I think, with his strategy, he performed very well against taller and bigger guys. But with Gaethje, I think it was underestimation factor. I think it's possible for Ilya to win against Gaethje. It just has to be very careful. But even there, you saw the size disadvantage. And, seeing Ilya in the welterweight, okay, let's say miraculously he wins against Islam, which I don't think so. But how do you imagine Topuria against Michael Morales or Garry or like any of those guys? He's too small. He's too small for division. It would make sense for Ilya, actually. I don't think it might be too hard of the cut, but the flyweight would make more sense for Topuria as a weight bully, for example, you know? Hey, babe. I have few tattoos. This is my biggest one. Some would make Topuria tap. Yeah, on the ground, pretty much, I think so. Is my husband boxer? No, he used to be a wingsuit flyer or base jumper. He used to do very, very extreme sports. And now he trains together with me, some boxing. He's like improving quite well. He's very interested in coaching in the future. So, my boxing career is going on now, but then when we have our kids, like boxing is going to be a big part of it. Not necessarily professionally, but we want to teach our kids boxing no matter what, even if they just have that skill for themselves. So, that's what we do. Okay. Hi, Peter. Welcome back. Shields, you mean Clarissa Shields? She just won against what's the name? I guess that 42-year-old woman. But again, I cannot hate Shields for that because she fights whoever there is, And some divisions in women's boxing are not as stacked as others But no, Clarissa is definitely, I think one of the coolest. Like, she has good timing, she has good durability, she loves to do what she's doing. She can recover. She had some knockdowns herself, and she's been back up and still winning. So she has that fighter's mentality and hunger, and she has I would point out her punching volume. Like, her volume is quite extraordinary. Like, for a woman. Even it's like she's great. She's like definitely one of the greatest ones out there. Like, the reason I don't like this title of greats, there's so many great boxers, both in men and women, and then more up and coming. So okay, you have Fundora never gonna fight Clarissa, but in her weight divisions and in her right, she's so far the greatest too, right? And she's just 24. And you have Katie Taylor, you have Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano has did you already break the knockout, like Christy Martin's knockout? She has like 40 plus wins, and 36 out of them are knockout. That's quite spectacular for a woman, like being such a big knockout artist. So yeah, you have the Lauren Price. I really like her. You have some other upcoming interesting boxers. I like this. What's her name? Fran. Forgot the surname, but she's quite technical boxer, so she's one of those younger generations that show a good technique, defense, footwork, things that I like. So that's why I don't call Clarissa the only GOAT. They're like different weight classes, and in the future, I really want to see more in the women, more and more women taking that higher levels, and yeah, just hopefully I'm gonna be one of them. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. I'm scrolling down, scrolling down. Matt says, what's not, it's risky. Ian didn't lose at anything, so big hugged the death wasn't the mark. Not really. Islam outstruck, at least first 2 rounds. I think the most challenging rounds was third and fourth for Islam, but come on, Islam was active even in the striking, and you have that beautiful knockdown out there. Like, Garry was doing practically nothing. Then in the third round, I think he started using more of the kicks, but he wouldn't really progress much on it. He would just go throw like a kick, low kicks there, and body shot, those good 1 or 2 body kicks, and then also some of the good head kicks, which a lot of them Islam also blocked. Not like it's easy to block someone throwing as such a big and heavy leg towards you, but a lot of it he blocked. And there was also, like, when they're saying damage, like, I wasn't understanding why he had that broken nose, but then I saw Ian literally headbutted him when Islam was holding him down. And there were some beautiful takedowns. Like, I don't understand that hate when it comes to wrestling. Islam. If we take wrestling, Islam is one of the least boring wrestlers. Okay, if you hate wrestling completely, well, then you just need to watch kickboxing or something, because if you cannot watch it at all, yeah. And agree to a certain extent. Well, if you wanna rewatch this rule, like, of the takedown control thing. But that's the thing. You have active and inactive, types. Like, there was this. What was the fight? No, it wasn't Roundtree. It was this guy who got kicked out of UFC because of very boring. He would just put someone down and he would just hold them down. No activity. And while the referee was kind of around and then would making them stand up, he would do that again. That's boring. But when you have attempts for the submission, and when you have, like, I like watching it. Like, to me, it's just, it goes sometimes that way. And yeah, anyways. Then is to book Shevchenko versus Silva. That's a good one. Did you smoke? I don't smoke. We need Conor versus Gage. Gage is gonna eat him alive. Come on, you saw what happened to Conor. Conor was, I don't know, it's injuries, whatever, but yeah, against Holloway. He has one more fight in the contract. I think they're just gonna do another Holloway versus Conor, but that's it, I think. And I don't think that might go very well either. How did I get into boxing? That's a good question. I started from karate, Goju karate. It's like contact karate. And just for the self-defense and just to learn how to, like, I don't know, I just had the urge to learn how to fight. And then I just realized that karate is not exactly my thing, but this is where I actually learned how to do some leg kicks quite well. But then I moved to boxing. I met some MMA guys, and like I tried some MMA too. And then there was this boxer guy there, and he's like, "Listen, try boxing. This and that. We need some girls in the thing." So I actually went there. I was training for free, and I remember it was, it's a good experience. And then I just loved boxing. I just realized, okay, that's something that suits me. I was back in 2016, between 2016 and 2018, I managed to win the Georgia Nationals, which was a very big competition back then. But then I trained with the national team in the camps a few times as well. Then I retired. There was some reason for that. I started working as a personal trainer, just follow that direction. Kept training boxing on and off, and actually polished some things, relearned some things, just because, I love doing that. And then I think I trained sprints, track and field, like for a year before getting back to boxing. And then I was like, you know what? I really want it. I really want to test myself to get that in that shape, show the journey. And I started doing it. My feet got so much better, even just after training sprinting. So I was like, oh, okay. I focused on it, trained, did my debut. Didn't win, but there was a lot of logistic issues. I didn't know my opponent's background. My former team failed me in some ways. And there was also inexperience. There was like some mistakes I did. Lost the decision. You can watch the fight and judge by yourself, by the way, on my YouTube channel. And now I had another fight, which wasn't official, but because I moved to my opponent's team, to Karina's team, befriended her. Now she's preparing for MMA fight because she wants to pursue MMA more, but she's going to be back in the city and we'll do some work together as well. But I also moved to her team, to her coaches, and talked to the guys, and they were like, you know what, let's do a test, let's do a non-official one. There's this club championship, let's see how it goes. And everything went well. I won that one. I got the experience. The vibe was great. My team, the guys, the support I felt was definitely what I was lacking in my first fight. And now just learned a lot of things from that winning fight as well, and gonna keep working on, as I said, more of the knockout type of punches, more of the lever shots, like actually applying more of the damage and breaking my amateur boxing habit a little bit. And that's the goal. That's where I'm at right now. Usman versus Killing Salkit. Yeah. Should be. I mean, Usman is great and legend is all right, but he's older. His hips are not good. There are a lot of things that leave that man alone a little bit. But I mean, he still has his own still on the contract. He's still there, so he's gonna face a lot of those up and coming potential future champs. Garry works on his ground game some more. He's going to be a serious threat. He needs to work with his mentality too. Young Garry is very good at not letting you do for first few rounds or first 1 or 2 rounds what you want to do, and winning just by that frustration factor. But he needs to realize that it's not going to work against Islam, which didn't work. It's not going to work against Prades. It's not going to Prades on the second fight even though he won against him first time. It's not going to work against Michael Morales. Who do we have? We have Imamov also. That's actually somebody who is interesting. So Ian Garry needs to change that mentality. He needs to he cannot be only a neutralizer. He needs to be an aggressor too. And that's the thing. He has the body type for it. He can do that. He can be a switch from the aggressor to a neutralizer. He can do both, but I don't know. There's something wrong with his mentality at this point. Georgia is a big wrestling country. That's true. Hi, Turkey. Merab or Topor, both. They're friends now. Who are friends now? Me and my opponent. Yeah, we're friends now. Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because Salkelt is it's like a lightweight. The Usman is in the welterweight or middleweight at this point. Yeah, Usman, did he do his debut? No, I don't think so. They're planning to make him do the debut. It's gonna be interesting. Hi, Netherlands. Yes, you too. LOL. Okay, guys, I gotta wrap it up now. was good live actually. It's been a while, but I'll try to be more consistent on the live streams. I'll do my best. A lot of work on the Instagram now. That platform is growing very, very well and very, very fast. So our focus was switched a little bit, but gonna keep up some content definitely on YouTube as well. Okay, bye guys. Win stream. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you guys. Was a good talk. Talked a lot about the 330 UFC event and also about what I'm doing. I want Barry versus Taporia. I want that one too. Also Arman versus Taporia, and also Barry Paddy versus Tsarukyan too. So like I will see all of those. Have a good night, have a good day, guys, depending where you're from. See you next one. Ciao.